for this. Hello, everyone. Dan Mowdy with Mike Zambelli, all set to bring you tonight's East Penn Conference clash. It's the red-hot Dieruff Huskies coming in to face the Whitehall Zephyrs. And, Mike, the Huskies don't want to get zapped tonight like 8 other teams in the East Penn Conference before them already have.
Well, this is a tough game for Dieruff tonight, as it is for anybody in the East Penn Conference. Dieruff currently right on that 6th spot for the tournament, and tonight and every night will be an important night for them, and they're going to need to rise to the challenge. They're again without Brian Kish and Tom Stout. They're going to have to do it without 2 of their leaders.
However, Dieruff on an emotional high. We saw them earlier this week come from behind to beat Liberty in overtime, and I think they're still floating.
Well, it is the high point of their year, Dan. I mean, in a must-win situation, they came up with a monumental effort and a big win over Liberty in overtime on a buzzer beater. So we will see how that carries over as far as into tonight's game for them.
You mentioned one of the hottest players in the East Penn Conference, and he's only a junior playing for Whitehall tonight, Pete Lisicki. What has this young lad done, and what can he do by the end of his career?
Well, there's so much he can do and has done already. You know, he's a premier player, as evidenced by, I mean, I heard there's scouts here tonight from Indiana. They were here from UCLA the other night. So he's drawing national attention. I think it's important for Whitehall to stay focused, however. I think they're in a little bit of a lull. After their Christmas tournament, they got waxed pretty good by Allen, a loss that hasn't sat well with them, and they're not playing their best basketball. I think tonight's an important game for Whitehall. They need to break out of a little slump. On the bright side of it, they are still winning their games, and they are 8-1 in league play.
Now, Whitehall has one main power when it comes to offense. It's Lisicki. When you look at Dieruff, there's a number of guys who can step in and fill the role, and the latest was a sophomore, Shaq Kratzer.
Well, Kratzer's coming off a career night for him with 20 points, and we mentioned the game winner at the buzzer, but, you know, Dieruff does have many go-to guys. The other side note to tonight's game is we have the 2 top scorers in the league in Lisicki, and Dieruff's Jason Moyer is just percentage points behind him. So we look forward for a very interesting game.
All right, saddle up and get ready to join us for tip-off right after this.
C.J. Wagner, trophies, plaques, and bowling supply.
If you love dogs, you'll love going to a dog show. You'll see dogs from all over your area competing for best in show. You can learn about the more than 130 breeds recognized by the American Kennel Club. Learn about responsible dog ownership. And if you're thinking of getting a dog, you can find out which breed may be right for you. A message from the American Kennel Club.
See all you want to see. Turn on Service Electric Cable TV. We were the first to lead the way. The pioneering spirit is still with us today. Channel after channel, we bring you more. More of what you want to see is on Service Electric Cable TV.
Well, there are the 2 courtside generals. Ron Hassler to your left, the head coach of the Whitehall Zephyrs. Dan Tanis to your right, the head coach at Dieruff. Ron Hassler has another harvest season, Mike. 7 seniors, 6 juniors, and 1 sophomore. And mention the name Pete Lisicki anywhere in the Lehigh Valley, and people know you mean serious basketball.
Well, you really do. Pistol Pete's now over 1,100 points. In his career, I have him at 1157. He is the 7th Whitehall player to go over the 1,000-point mark, and I'm sure he'll, before he graduates, as you look at Pistol Pete right there, Scott Koval is the top guy with 1,858 points, and Pistol Pete certainly got a shot at that.
Well, there's another guy named Lisicki in the Whitehall program, Gabe Lisicki, Pete's younger brother. He scored 18 points just a few moments ago as Whitehall defeated Dieruff on the JV side 44-36, and just seems like that name keeps popping up. We had Jack Lisicki many years ago and another fine Whitehall team.
You also had Andy Lisicki, and now if you want to go back a little further, there's a twin also playing on the freshman team, Alex Lisicki. So you're going to hear that name for a while, and Ron Hassler's not too upset about it. You know, they're good kids. They come from a good family, and I was talking with Pete Lisicki's father just a little while ago, and you know, that college recruiting's starting to get a war, so he's going to have a major decision to make, you know, sometime within the next year and a half, and you know, hopefully that does not detract from what he can do right here at home.
Dan Tannis in his first year at the helm of the Dieruff Huskies, working with 4 seniors, 4 juniors, 5 sophomores. But don't feel too sorry for him, because one of those sophomores, Chad Kratzer, has really been putting on a show of late, playing JV basketball as he did here tonight, and then coming on the varsity courts more than warmed up.
Yeah, I think the one interesting thing, and you and I talked with Dan Tannis, is the one interesting thing is, you know, we both asked him, you know, well, what will you do for Whitehall? He's not concerned about who he plays. He's concerned about how his team plays, and I think that's a good approach from his side. There's Brian Kish, who the Huskies will sorely miss tonight. Brian, by the way, has been named the Dieruff High School football player scholar athlete, so look for him Monday night at that dinner.
Before we get involved with the introductions, Mike mentioned that National Football Foundation Scholar Athlete Banquet coming up. We're going to be taping it. Monday night we'll be televising it. Wednesday night at 7:30, and then again Thursday night at 7 p.m. The starters for the Dieruff Huskies: number 10, Alan Stein, a junior guard, 5'11". Number 14, the awesome shooting Jason Moyer, a 6'1" junior guard. Number 34 is the senior forward, 6 foot tall Mike Jones. Number 50, Pat Taylor, senior forward at 6'1", and Chad Kratzer, the do-it-all sophomore we're talking about, playing center at 6'4", wearing number 54, and there you see him.
And the last 2 guys, I guess we could call it the Immaculate Reception.
Yeah, that's
Pat
right.
Taylor to Chad Kratzer to defeat Liberty just a couple of nights ago.
The Whitehall Zephyrs will not take the floor individually, as is tradition here with a Ron Hassler coach team. You'll be seeing number 24, Keith Giannicola, a senior guard of 6 feet tall. Number 30, Matt Zogue, senior guard or forward, playing at 6'3". There you see the numbers and the stats. Number 32, Pete Lisicki, the junior, plays guard or forward at 6'4". Chad Kusko wearing number 34 at 6'1", and Mark Leschko, the senior center, wearing number 54.
Ron Hassler in his 10th year. His teams have won 4 consecutive District 11 titles, and if they would pull off another one this year, I know it's a little bit earlier to talk about that, but when you get around that time, that would surpass him as far as, you know, the heydays of Dieruff when they won 4 in a row, and I think there was one other school. So you look at Dan Tannis there, Ron Hassler on the other side, and we're about ready to go here in front of just about a full house, Dan, and I think a surprisingly big crowd here tonight at Whitehall High School. There you get a look across the way, all the seats taken, and on the home side, Whitehall, just about everything taken here also.
Well, it was right here that another team from Allentown gave Whitehall its first loss, so maybe the fans are turning out to make sure that doesn't happen again. Allen defeating Whitehall earlier this season. The Zephyrs only lost 70-52.
Our officials, Frank D'Angelo and Barry Jarvis. Dieruff opening up man for man. They have used it all just about all year. They'll come out of it once in a while, maybe to set some traps, but they go man to man to try and up-tempo the game and force some steals.
Matt Zook gets it over to Jenicola.
One of the things that was as a concern to Coach Tanis before the game, Whitehall, a team that does not usually beat itself. They don't commit turnovers. In order to break and run the way Dieruff would like, they're going to have to force some turnovers here tonight, something to look for.
Pete Lisicki, the fadeaway jumper is good, and then Whitehall puts the first 2 points on the board.
Excellent ball movement. Whitehall spreads the floor. They're able to create some movement. Lisicki breaking out just beyond the free throw line to get things started here tonight.
Kratzer equals the amount and ties the game at 2.
Kratzer just has so much energy. We've documented, you talked about it tonight. He plays most of the JV game. Believe it or not, tire him out a little bit. Nice little turnaround jumper there to get Dieruff on the boards.
Lisicki. Traveling call. The basket will not count for Mark Leschko. Some good inside passing from Whitehall, and that's what you come to expect from Ron Hassler.
You really do. Leschko makes a nice little underhand move. The basket does go, but just a little bit too far away from the basket. Our first turnover of the night.
This Zephyr team, if you haven't seen one before, is the essence of discipline. Players will often look to pass before they look to shoot. And that's just the way Hassler wants it.
You see the defense. It's the matchup zone. They will match when you get into the area there, and nobody does it finer. There's a lot more teams trying to use it, but nobody does it better than Dieruff or than Whitehall at this point.
And it may have caused that turnover. Kratzer having a tough time keeping that one in bounds. The Zephyrs take over. 2 minutes gone here in the first quarter, and we're tied at 2. And this is the pace that is quite typical of a Whitehall Zephyr team. Looking at some of the scores of previous games, you see that they led Peaburg in their last outing 11-2 after 1 quarter. And then in their 4th East Penn Conference battle, they led Liberty 20-5 after 1 quarter. There's Lisicki, nice feed down low, and Kratzer can't connect. Or correction, Leschko no good with the shot. Whitehall maintains possession.
Excellent job again by Whitehall. They just don't finish inside. What they're doing is they're just spreading floor. They're making it as big as possible and showing good movement around the perimeter. They collapsed everything, got what they wanted, but didn't convert.
Zoke hits the long one for 3.
Zoke averaging 11 points a game, very capable, and this time Whitehall works again to perfection, but this time it's Zoke who frees up on the perimeter.
Here's Alan Stein. Moyer. And Moyer traveled. Whitehall gets it back.
Little anxious for Jason Moyer, number 14, league's 2nd leading scorer, just percentage of a point behind Pete Lisicki. Actually, he's tied with Wayne Thomas of Allen, both averaging exactly 20 points a game. Lisicki's averaging 20.25.
Well, making it look easy, Matt Zoke just unattended, pops one in for 2, and the Whitehall Zephyrs lead 7-2 over Dieruff.
Well, Zoke's quite an athlete, quite a fine football player, as Dieruff showing some early nervousness here, has committed 3 straight turnovers.
Mike Jones with the moving feet, and the Zephyrs take over. Matt Zoke, met by 2 Huskies at midcourt, dumps it off to Chad Kusko. Kusko back out to Lisicki for 3, no good. Last touched by Zoke, and Pat Taylor will make the inbounds pass.
It's early, but Dieruff really needs a good offensive set. They've turned the ball over. The last 3 possessions, have not gotten a shot. They need to get a good offensive set here, show some patience.
Kratzer, and he's good for 2. Nice touch.
And he has both of Dieruff's field goals for the total of 4 points. Certainly the adrenaline of his game-winning basket over Liberty has carried over here early against Whitehall.
Matt Zoke looking to connect on his 2nd 3, but this one falls short. Jason Moyer looking for some room. The lean in, no good. Lisicki quickly, and Kusko connects. 9-4 Whitehall.
Talk about the shooting. Excellent job by Pete Lisicki. Pulled the defense up around that three-point area and froze everybody. And a nice job of Kusko filling the lane.
Kusko making that last turnover happen, and Whitehall will hold on to the ball.
Dieruff really having a problem in that half-court offense. Credit that matchup zone.
The jumper by Lisicki, inside iron, no good. Here's Moyer, quickly down court to Stein. He's blocked. Moyer will try for three. Yes. Nice comeback off what could have been another disappointment for the Huskies.
Yeah, it was real scrappy play for Dieruff, but an excellent job defensively. Zoke is the guy who got the block, but Moyer alertly rebounded and came up with it and converted.
So Zoke with a very impressive first half here so far. And look, he's driving again. No good for two. Here's Moyer quickly down court to Stein. Stein, the leaner, no good. The rebound good by Jones.
Well, that's the pace Dieruff wants to go at. That's one of the few times they were able to beat Whitehall down the floor. A quick shot resulted into a nice follow-up by Michael Jones.
Giannicola to Lisicki. Lisicki with all kinds of screens set up. And the shot is good by Chad Kusko. This Zephyr team is hot.
Talked about Brian Kish for Dieruff, the scholar athlete. Chad Kusko is Whitehall's representative for their football program. Here's a young man ranked third in a class of 206. So he's a fine athlete, a fine student, and he rewarded there a nice three-pointer to put Whitehall up by 3.
Taylor to Jones.
Kusko's also gotten a little bigger this year. I think he worked on those weights a little bit. I noticed a little bit more size in him this season. The Dieruff coaching staff, Dan Tannis, George Burkott, along with Ron Huffman.
This one will go against Whitehall's Lisicki. His first, the team's first. Take a look at it.
Dieruff trying to get some movement towards the basket. Good effort there by Jones, but the foul called out in front.
The Huskies now in a patient half-court offense. Jones weaving in and out. Out to Moyer. Moyer with the jumper. There's Jones trying to get it pulled down, and he can't do it. Lisicki's there with the good hands. Moyer steps in front of Zoke, and he gets called for it.
Moyer gets over a little bit late, trying to create something, and that's the Dieruff philosophy. They want to attack at all points. You see Zoke, a nice job. The ball in left hand was the key there to shield the defense, and as a result, Dieruff picks up the foul. Both teams now with one team foul.
Kusko with the ball. Lisicki back to Kusko.
Elsewhere in the league tonight, Allen's at Peaburg.
Alan Stein knocks the ball away from Lisicki, but the Zephyrs will have the inbounds.
Allen is at Phillipsburg, Parkland at Liberty, Central at Freedom, Easton at Emmaus, Northampton at Bethlehem Catholic, and Easton Emmaus, Mike Hallman with an opportunity to go over 1,000 points in his career at Emmaus High School, needs just 7.
Well, Zoke and Leschko no good on their attempts, but we have a foul called, and it's going to go against Whitehall. Leschko a little too eager to field his own miss, and it's his first, the team's second. Here's Moyer with some pressure, working with Taylor.
Whitehall now showing full court press and force a turnover.
So quickly inside, and there's Kusko. Good. 14-9. Quickly they go to Jones, back to Moyer, down to Stein. Here's Moyer driving the paint, and he is fouled on his way to the hoop.
Unusual to see a drive get that close to the basket against Whitehall's match. Moyer, a nice job that time. He found a little crease. Well, Whitehall had gambled on the perimeter. There you see, got a little out of position, and Moyer was able to exploit it to get that close to the basket and draw the foul. And quickly now Leschko with 2.
Leschko with 2, Whitehall with 3. Unusual for a first period. And the Zephyrs send in Steve Raisley. He'll replace Leschko.
Raisley, a 6'4" sophomore.
Moyer looking to make it a 3-point ball game, and he does. Final minute of play here in the first quarter. Zoke with the ball. The clock hasn't started yet, Mike.
You're right.
And now the officials notice.
Frank D'Angelo now just noticed they ran 2 seconds off there, but they played some 8, 9, 10 seconds maybe there before that clock got started. They're going to take some off now. They've run it down to 45. And now we'll get things back in order. Get the bookkeeping in shape.
Whitehall will play for the final shot, most likely, or at least the best shot possible. Raisley back to Lasicki. Raisley saw some time on the JV squad this evening. Inside they had Zoke, or correction, they had Kusko, but Kusko falling to the ground and sliding the feet. He's called for traveling. So the Huskies get it with 26 seconds and 3 points down.
And that's just the second Whitehall turnover of the quarter, and that's not a good sign for Dieruff. If they're going to win this game tonight, they need to force Whitehall turnovers and get into transition.
Well, Taylor thinking pass, he had to give it up. He puts it up and in off the banking board. 14-13 now. Dieruff losing by only a point.
Well, the old saying is when in doubt, shoot, and that's exactly what happened. You called it right. He was looking to pass. A defensive adjustment forced him to shoot, and he made it.
Kusko to Raisley. And that's it for the first quarter. Raisley gives Whitehall that 3-point cushion, and it's 16-13. Back with the second quarter action right after this.
Backed by popular demand at the Allentown Rose Bowl, where the better people bowl, time bowling, and Rental Lane, the Rose Bowl's most popular program. And children's bumper bowling. Rose Bowl is the first in the Valley with an all-new system. Plus, birthday party packages. You bring the cake, we do the rest. You'll find it all at the Allentown Rose Bowl.
Allentown Rose Bowl. Allentown Rose Bowl. Where the better people bowl. Allentown Rose Bowl.
And I'm Gary James.
We would like to invite you and your family out to a very special show.
Proceeds will benefit the Camelot House for Children.
Please come on out and have a great time for a great cause.
Come out and join us for a very special cause. Camelot House for Children. Call 691-0885.
See all you want to see. Turn on Service Electric. Cable TV, we were the first to lead the way. The pioneering spirit is still with us today. Channel after channel, we bring you more of what you want to see is on Service Electric Cable TV.
Welcome back to the Zephyr's den. Whitehall leading Dieruff 16-13 after one period of play. And while the ski gets a lot of press, you can't ignore Matt Zoke. He scored quite a few points here in the first quarter.
Well, and that's a big key for Whitehall. Everybody has to be involved. You can't just stand around and let Lasicki score or watch him. Zoke, Kusko, Janicola, Leschko a little bit inside. They all need to become involved and look offensive, and Coach Hassler wants them to do that.
Jones bangs somebody before he gets the ball up and in. And we're only 1 point away is Dieruff from tying this game up. 16-15 in favor of Whitehall.
Shooting in the first quarter, Whitehall 7 of 14, 50%. 2 of them three-pointers for their total of 16 points.
What a nice feed. Zoke to Graisley for 2.
Graisley's really coming on for Whitehall. He's their backup center, and as you mentioned, plays some JV, so he's familiar with Kratzer, so because they banged head just a little while ago, but he's coming on. Has 2 baskets here already.
I think you mean banged heads quite literally too,
yes.
Mike. No love lost between those 2 players after that JV game.
For Dieruff in that first quarter, they were 5 of 9 from the floor for 56%. One of their field goals was a three-pointer. They were 2 of 2 from the free throw line for their total of 13 points.
Losicki going for 3, but it's no good. Pat Taylor with that long pass, this time to Stein, but it's a little too far for him. Incomplete.
Taylor is the top assist man for the Huskies on the air. That time that pass was just a little too flat and didn't allow Stein to run underneath it. And see Dan Tanis just hollering in some instructions there, but he wants to attack at all times.
Stein hits the deck. Kusko to Losicki. No. And the follow-up by Zoke is good. 20-15 Whitehall.
Talked about Kusko being a fine student athlete. Also, Zoke is also ranked in the top 15 to 20 in the senior class.
There's why Taylor's your assist leader for Dieruff, even though he's such a big guy, feeding Kratzer with a nice crisp pass for 2 points.
Turnovers in the first quarter. Whitehall could have just 2. Dieruff committed 5, and that's not the way Dieruff needs to look at that statistic.
Kusko, well challenged by Stein. Losicki working hard against Jones. Jones gets it back and quickly to Moyer for 2 points.
Well, and that's what Dieruff can do. Good persistence by Jones to finally come up with the turnover, and then it was 3 on nobody fast break.
And Moyer with the smarts to commit himself in the backcourt, hoping for something to come up. 3-pointer by Zoke is nothing but net.
Defensively against Whitehall, you really have to hang in there. They run people off 2 and 3 screens and have the capability to hit that shot. Zoke is on fire tonight.
And Zoke knocks it away from Moyer for a turnover. Losicki gets the loose ball. Zoke now with it. The man open for the 3 is Kusko. No good. Jones gets it tapped on its way to Moyer. 2 on 3. Moyer will hold on to it, and he is fouled underneath. And Moyer may be the answer to the Zephyr's matchup zone.
I don't know if it was Kusko or who it was, but defensively able to get his hand up and slowed that break down enough for enough people to get back. You see Graisley, Giannicola was back defensively and allowed 3 people to get back and get some pressure. Moyer does, however, draw the foul.
I believe that's Graisley's first, although we haven't had that confirmed yet. Whitehall's 4th team foul. Moyer connecting from the free throw line. The Huskies want to substitute, but it's not going to happen. Getting ready to be inserted for the Huskies, Jason Watring.
Coming in for the foul shooter. That's why he didn't come in, was Jason Moyer. So Watring replaces Moyer. Huskies down 2, 23-21. Brian Kish just had that nose operated on. If it looks swollen, I'm sure that thing's bothering him enough. But 2 to 3 weeks for Brian Kish to return.
Well, there's Losicki on a nice follow-up after a good pass to Chad Kusko. Kusko couldn't connect.
And Whitehall back to the full court press.
Stein manages to hold on to the possession, if not the ball.
Yeah, barely. They really struggled to break that one. Giannicola with some outstanding pressure. Ron Hassler, Jerry Radoka, Dennis Lobb, and the Zephyr bench.
Glenn Nowak also one of the coaches. I think he has the freshman team.
Yes.
.422 to play here in the first half, and it's Whitehall 25, Dieruff 21. Moyer to Kratzer, turnaround Jay, and it's in.
The big man is perfect on the night. He's 4 for 4, and that momentum has certainly carried him. A nice little turnaround jumper, and I got news. That is almost impossible shot to stop. Once he turns and squares, you know, you're not going to get to that if he falls away on it. If he's hitting that, that's a very difficult shot to stop.
And with Kratzer's height, as you mentioned, it is virtually unstoppable.
Well, and Ron Hassler will try and counter now. He will come in with Leschko at 6'6", a little bit taller than Raisley, to try and counter that.
Lisicky, quick move inside to shed the big man, but he misses off the board. 3:50 to play, 25-23. Dieruff down by 2.
What a good job getting back defensively by Whitehall. A quick outlet, and still there were 4 white jerseys back defensively, and Lisicky's going to force a turnover.
Mike Jones called for the foul. Whitehall will get to put the ball in play. There's a look at the foul. Jones in blue.
You see Lisicky's going to turn around, apply some pressure, and then force the turnover.
From the perimeter, Lisicky for 3 again. This time he hits. And the Zephyrs setting up Lisicky all the way there with the screen. Watrain gets it knocked away, but he was fouled.
See,
they're calling it on Zoke.
Yeah, he's not going for the call. He felt he had all ball. And I think one of the surprising things to the early season success for Whitehall is the fact that Janicola, Zoke, and Cusco were all football players. You know, they came, plus they play a Thanksgiving Day game. They really got in there late, but on the flip side of it is, as poorly as the football team and in lack of wins there, I think they were hungry to win, too.
Pat Taylor from nowhere. And look out, here comes Watrain. Jones. Jones again. So a big Dieruff error at their own end turns out to be golden as they come back to put it in.
Well, Taylor creates it with a good hustle defensively, and then Dieruff is able to get a transition basket. Good third and fourth effort by Jones.
Mark Leschko with 2 points. 5-point ball game. Whitehall 30, Dieruff 25.
Leschko needs to become involved in the offense. Nice job of Whitehall setting him up down low.
Kratzer has been rather quiet since Leschko came in. Watrain has it knocked away by Leschko. Out they go to Moyer. Moyer setting Lisicky, shoots the 3, and it's good.
Boy, great poise by Moyer. He felt Lisicky or the defense running at him, was able to regather himself and convert.
Cusco.
Moyer with now 2 3-pointers on the night. He has 5 all season long.
Lisicky begging for the ball. He had 3-man coverage, got away the shot, but it was no good. And there's a lucky fan. He's going to have to give it back, though. Pat Taylor with the long bomb. Whitehall gets the ball.
That's Tommy Stout's father and a former Dieruff performer himself. Still has those good hands.
Yeah, how about that? I think he only caught it with one of them.
Yeah, he still works out down the line. I know he plays a lot of basketball. I'm sure he's disappointed his boy's not in there playing. But Tommy Stout, couple of weeks also for him till he's back.
Cusco. Nice pick by Zoke, and Cusco connects. Zoke took out 2 Huskies with the screen. Now into the fray for Dieruff, number 20, Ben Falk, sophomore guard, 5'11", a 67% shooter.
Well, and that's where Dieruff really misses Stout and Falk, or Stout and Kish. Falk now is replaced by Taylor again, but that's where those 2 guys are really missed. Takes away from their depth big time and doesn't really allow them to run at the pace they would like to for the full 4 quarters.
Taylor inside to Moyer. Moyer is double teamed, and he is fouled by Lisicky.
I'm not so sure that pass was intended to go there, but it did find its way there. And unusual now, Whitehall with 16 fouls. Dieruff has committed only 2, and that's going to be 3 now on Leschko.
It was Leschko that committed the foul.
There you see the pass. Moyer tries to come back weak side, and it catches Leschko off guard, and that is number 3 on the big man.
Leschko will stay in with 1:17 to go here in the first half. 32-28, Whitehall.
First miss for Moyer from the free throw line out of 5 attempts.
collects his thoughts and goes in for the kill. A 3-point ball game. Final minute 15. Lisicki with the ball for Whitehall. Inside soak. And it's good off the glass.
Boy, excellent backdoor. Good communication. Good assist by Lisicki.
Credit the Zephyrs for getting themselves open underneath like that.
Yeah, they're looking better offensively here tonight. They're doing a nice job.
Stein looking to shoot. It's off the glass. No good. Here comes Cusco on Taylor. He backs it up. 47 seconds to go in the first half. And there's Lisicki. Nice move from behind the bucket.
They don't force things. They don't try to do things they're not capable of. They slowed it down, showed patience, and got a routine layup for Lisicki. Good effort by Cusco.
Different strategy here for Whitehall in the closing minute of the second quarter. They held the ball a bit in the first quarter. 25 seconds now on the clock in the first half. 36-29 Whitehall. And it looks like the Huskies will play for the last shot.
Boy,
15.
I thought they had Jones there with Leshko guarding him with the 3 fouls. That's not a bad attempt at this point here. Maybe pick up number 4 on the big man. Now they're challenging.
Kratzer, Leshko in his face. So calls it up, and it's no good off the top of the glass. We'll take a breather and be back for the second half. Right now, it's Whitehall 36, Dieruff 29.
From the little leagues to the big leagues, for working out to lounging around, suit up with Russell Athletic, now available at Bethlehem Sporting Goods. Bethlehem Sporting Goods, a Russell Athletic team specialist, carries a large selection of Russell Athletic tees, shorts, and uniforms. Plus, Bethlehem Sporting Goods offers custom lettering, screening, and embroidering of group and team Russell Athletic wear. Come by today for Russell Athletic wear and all sporting goods needs at Bethlehem Sporting Goods, the team sport and trophy specialist.
Next, we have the stress test. Make sure the machine is operating. How do you feel about traffic jams? Good. Root canal. I love that sound. The IRS. Oh, dear.
Maybe he didn't understand the question.
The IRS offers free refund information and workshops, free publications, and a toll-free hotline to make tax preparation a lot less taxing.
C.J. Wagner, trophies, plaques, and bowling supply.
See all you want to see. Turn on Service Electric Cable TV. We were the first to lead the way. The pioneering spirit is still with us today. Channel after channel, we bring you more of what you want to see is on Service Electric Cable TV.
Well, you got to look at some of the action there from the first quarter. It was not dominated by any means by the Zephyrs, but they did kind of snowball at the end there and ended up with a 36-29 lead, Mike.
Yeah, they're up by 7 points, but you really feel like they're kind of controlling things here. Dieruff has had some good spurts. When the pace quickens and they're able to break, they're in good shape. But when it slows down, they have to go half court, particularly in that first quarter, committed too many turnovers.
It was Whitehall leading 16-13 after one quarter, and they outscored the Huskies 20-16 in that last period.
A look at the individual scoring. First for Dieruff, they were led by Jason Moyer with 13 points. Mike Jones had 6. Pat Taylor had 2. Chad Kratzer had 8. Everybody else was scoreless. Dieruff was 5 of 6 from the free throw line. They had 11 field goals. 2 of them were 3-pointers by Moyer for their total of 29 points. You saw the high scores there. Okay, it was Moyer for Dieruff and Zook for Whitehall. The shooting percentages, Dieruff excellent, 11 of 21, 52.3. Look at how close. Whitehall 16 of 31 for 52.6, so not much difference there. Free throw line, Dieruff 5 of 6, 83.3%. Whitehall did not shoot a free throw. The turnovers, Dieruff 8 to 4, and Dieruff would like to see that flip-flopped around again if they're going to be successful in the game. You had to look there at Whitehall's high score. There's Dieruff's Jason Moyer. For the Zephyrs, Zook led the way with 12 points. Lisicky and Kusko had 9 each. Leshko had 2, and Raisley played well off the bench for 4 points when Leshko got into foul trouble. Their line score, 16 field goals on 31 shots. 4 of theirs were 3-pointers, 3 by Zook, I believe, and 1 by Lisicky for their total of 36 points.
Coming your way on Service Electric, a biggie in wrestling. Tomorrow night, Northampton takes on Nazareth, #1 in the state against #2, and it's going to happen at Liberty High School's Memorial Gym. Catch same night coverage right here starting tomorrow night at 9 p.m. and a replay Monday night at 9:30. You've got it all right here on Super 2 Sports. The Zephyrs taking control early here.
Both teams the same starting lineup for Whitehall. It's Zook with the ball, Kusko, Lisicky, Giannicola with the ball now, and Leshko in the middle.
And Lisicky there to clean up and put in 2. The Zephyr lead now 9 points.
For Dieruff, it's Moyer with the ball, their high scorer, Taylor, Stein, Kratzer, and Michael Jones.
You know, Mike, I think you almost have to double a lead in the case of Whitehall. What's 9 points with Whitehall ahead could be 18 with any other team ahead.
Well, they don't beat themselves, and they really shoot good free throws. Over the last 6 weeks, they're about 80-81% from the free throw line. They don't turn it over and don't beat themselves, so it's hard to play from behind, although that was a big 2 for Dieruff there.
Mike Jones connecting on the field goal. Pete Lisicky working on Jones, pops it up and in. And Lisicky's got that gun.
Well, he's so tough to defend because if you go at him with a quicker, smaller guy, you know, he's deceiving. He's 6'4" already, but he has extra long legs and arms, which allows him to raise up over most defenders in this league.
Alan Stein, a nice baseline move as he reaches in front of the basket and just scoops it in.
His first field goal of the night on a tough driving baseline move.
Kusko gives it up to Lisicky, the jumper for 2, and it's in.
Good screen out on top to free Lisicky. He doesn't need much.
That's for sure.
Well, when you let him get off, and he's really getting off to a good second half start, Dieruff's going to have to really pay attention to him.
Moyer either lost the handle or tried to make the most interesting pass of the night. Out they go to Kusko.
And that's another smart play. You know, they had a mini break there. It really wasn't there, and open wasn't there, so they pull it back and set the offense.
Whitehall stacking up on the high post. And knocked away for a moment by Moyer. Inside they go. Zook over to Giannicola. No good. And there's Leshko to clean it up.
When you gamble defensively, sometimes you get burnt. Moyer anticipating the call got stretched out defensively, and it created a 3-on-1. Giannicola missed a peeper, but Leshko was uncontested for the follow.
Alan Stein. 11 points between these two teams. Zephyrs in control. Here's Kratzer, and he gets a nice jumper over Leshko.
Yeah, that 11 points was the biggest lead of the game. Tough 2 points for Dieruff in response.
Kusko.
You see Moyer did a better job that time of breaking through that screen and getting out to the top. I'm sure that was a topic of conversation in the Dieruff locker room. They need to break through those screens and challenge those long-range jumpers.
for 3, no good. Stein, and he's going to get called for the charge. Cusco drawing the foul.
Well, they play excellent defense. They use their feet so well. Coach Hassler talked about getting back to fundamentals. It's Cusco, number 34, who slides and slides. Let's watch. Easy to read. You see Stein's got his head there, you know, a full head of steam. And Cusco gets the feet planted. Zoke there with a little backup.
And we've got a problem with the clock once again. Zephyrs will take it out of bounds as they take a few seconds off of our official time. 4:28 to play here in period 3. 44-35 in favor of the Zephyrs.
I want to send congratulations along to Bill Pollock's Salisbury Falcons, first half champs of the Colonial League. They are off tonight. They wound up first half play last night.
Matt Zoke banking it in for 2. And the Falcons got a little help from Banger in an upset over Southern Lehigh. In February, we'll be seeing Banger playing Saucon Valley, and we'll be seeing Salisbury and Southern Lehigh in the second half matchup.
It'll be an interesting race in the Colonial League. Salisbury, one of the top teams in the area, ranked number 1, 2A, and certainly a power, but there's some teams in that league to challenge them.
Moyer leaning in, and he has done that well all night long, either hitting the basket or collecting the foul. This time he picks up 2.
Yeah, you know, every time it looks like Whitehall might grab hold of this thing and open it up, Dieruff seems to come with a key basket to keep themselves within position.
Pat Taylor steals it away from Giannicoli. Can't put it in. Jones comes running in, but he knocks it out of bounds. So the Zephyrs dodge a bullet, although they still lead 46-37.
Good job getting back by Giannicoli. It appeared that Taylor never really gained control of the ball. It kind of got hung up on his hip, and as a result, he missed the breakaway.
Lisicky out to Giannicola. Zoke stepping in for 2, and it's short. Dieruff ball. And there are a few Dieruff fans here.
There's an excellent crowd. Good following from Dieruff, and I'm really impressed at the crowd here tonight.
There's Stein to Jones. Jones out to Stein. The Huskies moving it around the perimeter. Nice inside. Taylor, and Kratzer gets it stopped by Zoke. Zoke with the foul, however. Zoke 6'3", coming in on Kratzer 6'4", but it seems like there's more than 1 inch between them.
Yeah, there's a tough guy, Matt Zoke. He does whatever it takes. He plays the tough position of that matchup zone. He's responsible to run the baseline, and it really requires some kind of ability to do that. It was an excellent pass by Dieruff to set up Kratzer. Zoke a little late getting over, but got the ball, but also a piece of Kratzer's own.
If you like what you've seen from Kratzer on the field, watch what he can do at the foul line. The Huskies' leading foul shooter, around 80%.
Excellent free throw shooter. Nice soft touch. A lot of enthusiasm from sophomore Kratzer, and it's nice to see a big guy play with that kind of energy and enthusiasm.
And he's perfect at the line here. 46-39, the Huskies narrowing the gap to 7.
Yeah, they keep hanging around. You know, Whitehall seems to be in control, but when they look to put things away, Dieruff does some things to get themselves right back in it.
Giannicola right around the arc. Cusco to Lisicky.
Whitehall took the lead after it was tied at 9, and they have led ever since.
Long 3 attempt by Lisicky, no good. Zoke swatted at it, but it's Dieruff's ball. And Zoke. Oh, let's see. Moyer called for a foul.
No, they're going to call a turnover. They're going to say he palmed it. Moyer not liking, and again, another good job. You know, you're going to break against Whitehall. You're going to earn it. They automatically get back well defensively, and I'm sure Coach Hassler and the coaching staff talk, you got to do it even better against Dieruff.
The give and go. Zoke back to Cusco. Cusco connecting.
And that quickly, Whitehall increases the lead to 9.
Kratzer goes to make a move. Lisicky cuts him off with a pass, but he's called for the foul. Let's take a look. I don't know if Lisicki's used to a guy that big trying to go around him.
Well, in the match, you get you get matched up with who's in your area, and Pete was there a little late, and Kratzer tried to go to his left and drew the foul.
Jones trying the left side of the hoop, and Pat Taylor gets called for the rebounding foul.
Personal foul, Taylor, his first, team's second.
And it's Taylor's first, his team's second. 1:50 to play here in period number 3. 48-39 in favor of Whitehall. Cusco, Jenicola, Zoke.
Yeah, well, look at the good spacing Whitehall has offensively. They have had that through most of the night. Very tough recovery.
Zoke dodging his man and letting it fly for 3.
You know, he's just a fine athlete. We've seen what he can do through the stretch last year when they got into the district and the state tournament. He's very capable. He gets into that rhythm, and he's having a nice night from three-point land tonight. He's got 3 threes here tonight.
Jones gets it knocked away, and Pat Taylor sends Jenicola into the lobby.
Taylor seemed to lose his balance. I don't think anything intentional here. You see, he kind of stumbled. Jenicola clearly had controlled the board. And the personal foul goes against Taylor. That's number 2 on him.
Jenicola takes a break. Pete Romali comes in. Romali. And the Zephyrs working the ball around. In control with a 12-point lead here at 54 seconds to go in the third period. Zoke back out. Romali takes it around. Lisicki is fouled by Jones.
And a couple. Number 2 now on Jones. It's difficult when you fall behind Whitehall. You know, they have 46 seconds to go third quarter. They'll work for the last shot here, and you know, you want to send them to the free throw line. Dieruff not 4 team fouls, so it would have to be in the act of shooting. But unless it's a layup, I look for Whitehall to go for the very last shot of the quarter.
Romali to Zoke. Zoke to Lisicki. 27 seconds and counting. Romali's got Zoke. Out to Romali, way back out to Cusco.
See, now Zoke would have gone. Dieruff Moyer reacted well to that back door and was in position, so they don't take it. But if that's open, they'll take that layup.
Lisicki, a long 3. No good. 2 seconds to go. Moyer's going to hurl it. Oh, and that was awfully close. But it's Whitehall with a pretty nice lead. 8 minutes to go here in the game. 51-39. We'll be back with the final period right after this.
Better. Look what the wind blew in. What are you doing here at APE Car Care Center?
Why, my brakes and muffler, they're so for
Well, you come to the right place. They do good work here at APE Car Care. They're experts on brakes and mufflers.
When my machine don't run right, it makes me so gretzy. If it isn't one thing, it's another.
You dumb bunny. Why don't you sell that piece of junk and buy a new one?
Oh, now you're an expert on cars.
No, I'm an expert on junk.
Car Care Plus at ABE Car Care Centers.
The 13th annual Big Brothers Big Sisters Bowl for Kidsec is coming March 7th. This year's big bowling event will take place at the new Jordan Lanes in Allentown. Join the hundreds of local bowlers that come out to have fun and at the same time support our local Big Brothers Big Sisters program that benefits over 600 Lehigh Valley youngsters. Get your team together, gather pledges, and have fun. Call now to register your team. Live exclusive TV coverage on Service Electric Super 2. Don't miss out on the 13th annual Bowl for Kidsec. Hurry, register now.
Lehigh County Vocational Technical School is building a world-class workforce.
In my freshman year, I came for a tour, and it was surprising because of so many occupations in one building. And I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do in the future, and I thought maybe taking a look at different occupations and, you know, exploring them would help me.
A vocational technical education pays off with a job.
See all you want to see. Turn on Service Electric Cable TV. We were the first to lead the way. The pioneering spirit is still with us today. Channel after channel, we bring you more. More of what you want to see is on Service Electric Cable TV.
There's head coach Ron Hassler. His team in control here, 51-39, heading into the final period of play. I want to give some credit to the Whitehall cheerleaders, one of the best units in the Lehigh Valley year after year, led by their coach, Mrs. Liebensberger.
Shooting third quarter, Whitehall 7 of 13, 47%. No foul shots. They have not converted from the foul line. I don't think they've attempted any. 15 points. One of their field goals a three-pointer. Dieruff 4 of 7, 56%, 2 of 2 from the free throw line for their third quarter of 10 points.
Three-pointer is good. The first shot taken by Pete Romali, and he makes it stick.
Romali, a nice job off the bench for Jenna Cole. And again, Coach Hassler does want people to take those shots when they're open. He wants them to have the confidence to do that, and Romali, a nice job there.
Dan Tanis wants timeout to try to regroup and put something together here in the final minute. 7-17 showing on the clock, and Dieruff trailing 54-39. Let's take a look at Romali in action.
This is our first time out of the night. You see the action and the respect Lisicky draws. Well, if there's 3 blue jerseys on him, that means somebody has to be left alone, and it happened to be Romali. Whitehall does a nice job of finding the open man, and Romali does a nice job of converting for Whitehall on that play. Talked about Lisicky being the 7th Zephyr to score over 1,000 points in a career. The other people to do it, and the other members of that 1,000-point club, are Mike Sotak, a 52 graduate, Tom Tapler, a 65 graduate, Mike Torba, a 49 graduate of Whitehall, Russell Summers, who graduated in 60, John Chiretta, a 61 graduate and former girls coach here, and Scott Koval, who, as I mentioned at the top, leads all Whitehall scores with 1,858 points. He graduated in 1981 and also was a member of the state championship team.
Some big names in Lehigh Valley basketball right there.
Yeah, they sure are. Sotak, by the way, is currently second on the list with 1,355 points.
Oh, Dieruff goes to the blackboard and comes out with a Mike Jones deuce in the paint. Just what the doctor ordered.
Well, they need something. They're down 13 at this point, 6:52 to go. And they're now trying to set up some kind of a trap here. See, it's so difficult with the way Whitehall spreads the floor. It's hard to get 2 people on the ball, and that's the idea. That's why you look for good spacing offensively.
Before the game, Coach Hassler. Here's Lisicky for 2 more. Whitehall's not going to quit. 6:30 to play, 56-41. Hassler was saying at this point in the season there's nothing that he's really concerned about as far as practices go. And there's a nice 3-point play by Mike Jones. He'll try to complete it at the line.
Dieruff again scoring the scrappy type variety kind of basket there. The hustle, a nice post. Jones, a nice job of taking it. Look at him. Look at him shield Leshko away with his body. Lisicky comes over and offers good weak side help, but Jones is still able to convert. I mean, that's a good, tough basket under a lot of duress defensively.
Lisicky's 3rd foul, the team's 3rd. And Jones does complete the 3-point play, narrowing the gap to 12.
Ron Hassler doing some coaching on the bench.
Double team was Lisicky. Zoke is open on the wing, no good. And Romali comes up with a big rebound.
And he does a smart thing to stay down on that knee. If he would have tried to stand up, it would have been a travel.
Cusco. Zoke on Jones, the scoop underneath, no good. There is Lisicky with the follow-up. Very impressive showing tonight by Whitehall.
Zoke makes it happen. He gets the penetration. Lisicki finishes it off on the board.
And the Huskies turn it over. Now into the game for Whitehall. Back into the game, number 50, Steve Racely. And he'll give Mark Leschko a breather.
Well, Racely played some good minutes in that first half.
Romali to Zoke. Romali for 3, and he's got it. 2 for 2 from the perimeter. Well, if you got guys off the bench that can do that, you've got everything you need to go into postseason play and come out with something in the way of a banner.
Well, you certainly do. You know, the Whitehall showing us a little bit more depth tonight than we have seen in the past, with Romali and Racely playing some real meaningful minutes, and they're going to need those kind of people. When you play 3 games in a week, you need some depth off the bench, and those 2 guys have rose to the occasion here tonight.
Allenstein for 2, yeah. Our director tonight, Andy Himmelwright. He's assisted by Bill Kuhar on audio and engineering. Scott Richardson, our chief engineer tonight, joined by Jenny Quinn on slow-mo, Donnie Long on character generation. We've generated a lot of characters here, by the way.
I think you and I are the biggest 2.
Here's Lisicki trying the inside, stop by Kratzer on the block. And Whitehall gets it back. On camera tonight, Jimmy Grell, Mike Hodrick, and Tim Himmelwright. And back in master control, the captain himself, Dan Himmelwright.
Personal foul's going to go against Stein out in front. And the timeout charge to Dieruff. Dan Tannis now going to talk things over in the huddle. Let's look at the current standings in the East Penn Conference. Allen and Whitehall at top at 8-1. Central at 7-2. Freedom and Parkland at 6-3. Dieruff and Liberty currently tied for the 6th spot in 4-5. But Liberty has a tough game tonight, having to play Parkland. Phillipsburg's at 3-6. Easton, Emmaus, and Northampton are at 2-7. And Bethlehem Catholic at 1-8. Next week, again, is a 3-game week in the East Penn Conference. And talking with Ron Hassler, I think the rest of the way out for his team are 3-game weeks. The game of the week, 1 week where they only play 2 in the league. I think he has Coatesville scheduled. So they're going to get a good workout. They're going to be playing 3 a week, which is an awful lot of games. But next week is one of those weeks. Dieruff will have Freedom. They will be at Parkland and then have Emmaus at home. Whitehall will be at Parkland Tuesday. Home here with Central Catholic on Thursday, and then go to Freedom, a very tough ball club, next Saturday night.
As we know, Whitehall's team got to go to the Slam Dunk at the Beach tournament over Christmas time, Lewis, Delaware. Does Hassler like having more exhibition games and maybe leaving some room for that?
Well, he liked going to that tournament this year. He likes to go to tournaments where the caliber of play is, you know, maybe what he might even feel better than his. He likes to see what he's got going, and he came away with a championship this past time with wins over Gonzaga, Potomac of Maryland, and Redmond, Washington. So he came up with 3 big wins and won a championship. But he annually does that. He looks for the toughest tournament and goes to find it.
Got some good national publicity because of the win. Here's Dieruff on the move. Moyer may have traveled. Yes, he did. Trying to pick up the loose ball and go up for the layup at the same time.
Yeah, he had an awful tough time trying to control it, and then when he did, looked like a pretty good call by the official, Frank D'Angelo, and he just took a little step in between there and got called for the turnover.
Final 4 minutes of play here in regulation. Romali.
The turnovers through 3 quarters, by the way, as Lisicki drains another one. Dieruff had committed 2 and Whitehall committed 4. Now Dieruff, a team that averages forcing 13 turnovers a game. Whitehall committed only 4 through 3 quarters. Not a stat Dieruff wanted to look at. They needed to get Whitehall up into double digits, and that's always a tough thing to do.
Kratzer, head fake, lets it go. No good. Romali with the rebound. 3:30 to play, 63-46 in favor of Whitehall. Lisicki looking pass, shoots it up and in. Gets the shooter's bounce.
He has such a great touch. You know, that ball just hit the back of the rim and just died there. And all good scorers will have that kind of a touch.
And he is lighting it up here tonight. Jones, no good. Avoiding the foul from Zoke as he takes it down, and Stein touches it. It goes out of bounds. Whitehall will hold on to it. Pete Lisicki with 27 points against Allen. He had more. Well, I should say, yeah, he did have more than half of his team's points, and they still lost 70-52.
Well, and that's not what they're looking for, though, is Pistol Pete will probably call it a night. Cusco probably gone along with Zoke as we see some subs in there. That's Tatum with the ball, number 10. Number 22 is now Steve Gober. Giannicola is back in for Whitehall. Romeli remains number 20.
Zephyr's up by 19. Now leaving the building, the new head coach of the Kutztown football team, Al Leonzi. That announcement was made just earlier this week. So I want to congratulate him after being an assistant head coach at Kutztown under George Baldwin for many years, and then running his own pro football camp for high school and college age kids. He's getting a shot at the head coaching job. He probably would have had it earlier, but they made it a full-time job, and he is a professor at Kutztown, and he decided to stick with teaching until recently.
Yeah, I want to congratulate him also. I think Al will do a great job there. He was the intern head coach there for a while, where I guess, you know, he was the head coach of Andre Reed.
That's
you know,
right.
And we all know who Andre Reed is. One of Dieruff's most famous professional athletes right there. You look at Jason Moyer now going to go to the free throw line. That last personal foul was against number 42 Leibensberger of Whitehall.
Moyer no good on the first attempt. And it was perhaps Moyer that kept the Huskies in this battle early on in the first half, driving the paint, collecting numerous fouls on the Zephyrs. He's good on the second foul try. 65-47. It's still Whitehall with 2:36 to play. Backcourt violation. Dieruff will get the ball.
Almost a foul committed before the violation, but only the 5th Whitehall turnover of the night. And coming in, I thought that was the biggest key. You know, you want to be a fast break team, you want to up tempo, you have to do two things. You got to rebound and you got to force turnovers, and Dieruff did not force turnovers here tonight.
Shot was good by Jones, who's starting to come alive here in the fourth quarter. Tatum to Carr. Steve Gober is fouled. Foul is on Stein, his second. His third foul. 2:10 on the clock. Romeli with the ball. 16-point lead for the Zephyrs of Whitehall.
Zephs have yet to attempt a free throw tonight.
That's a well-disciplined ball club.
They always are. Well, they rely on that. Now Dieruff is in the 1-and-1. They didn't get to that point in the first half. Now with 17 fouls, now we will see Whitehall start to shoot some free throws. Chris Carr, quarterback of the football team, and I shouldn't really say that, I guess, because he played a little running back also. Quite a fine athlete, just a junior. He'll be back next year.
Off the glass and in for Moyer. And Dan Tannis electing to keep his starters in. Moyer quickly fouling Tatum. So Tremaine Tatum, a 5'9" junior guard, will step to the line.
Now Dan Tannis is not going to have too many people to go to. He's without Stout and he's without Kish. So he's used a lot of the people, that come in off the bench already. You see Moyer now trying to create something and committing the personal foul. Number 2 on him. Tremaine Tatum, 5'9" senior.
And he's good with the first.
The first Whitehall free throw of the night.
Well, we got a foot fault on Tatum, so it doesn't count.
A foot fault. Lane violation. Yeah, he was over that line, and take that one away. He made it, but they're going to take it away.
Pulling down the rebound, Jeff Leibensberger. Ball's loose. Moyer comes up with it. Fans are going crazy here. Moyer sailing in for 2, and Dieruff wants timeout. Well, if you're watching this contest on a Friday night, tune in for our replay, our repeat telecast. Come to think of it, don't tune in until we find out when it is. There's the score right now. Whitehall 66, Dieruff 53, only 1:32 remaining in the ball game. Here we go. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. You'll be seeing a repeat broadcast of this one Saturday night, 7 o'clock.
Yeah, you're gonna be busy doing a wrestling match tomorrow night, aren't you?
Yes, sir. We'll be out there at Liberty High School. 7:30 meet. We'll have it for you at 9 o'clock Saturday night right here on the Super 2. Number 1 Northampton against number 2 Nazareth, the top 2 teams in the state of Pennsylvania.
That's as big as it gets in the country. With, I guess it's Northampton is ranked number 2 in the nation, not only number 1 in the state, but you know, that's as good as it gets anywhere in the U.S. of A. So that's a big one. I understand Liberty's Memorial Gym is a sellout for that one.
That's
so you
right.
should have a good time over there tomorrow night.
An early sellout. Tickets went on sale and they were gone 2 days later. Nazareth also ranked nationally in the top 20. Loose ball here at midcourt, hauled in by Moyer. And the Huskies trailing now by 13, so they're narrowing the gap somewhat with the starters still on the floor. Moyer. Yes, fans looking for a traveling call, but they didn't get it. 11 points now, the lead for Whitehall. No starters left on the floor for Whitehall.
Well, you know, how soon or how quickly do you go to, you know, reserves, you know, in this situation? With 1:07 remaining, you know, it's going to come down to some free throws. Now, Whitehall, if they do not convert from the free throw line, you know, theoretically, Dieruff can get back in this thing. They're scoring points. They're scoring quickly. There's only 1:07 remaining. But these people that are in the game, and it appears that Coach Hassler's going to go with them, you know, they're going to have to suck it up, and they're going to have to win the game. It's 11 points at this point. Gober with some big free throws here and gets the first to go.
Gober at the line. In the meantime, it was Tim Heimbach replacing Steve Racely for Whitehall.
You know, we saw Liberty with a 7-point lead with just over 45 seconds to go and not hang on to that on Tuesday night. You know, 1:07 to go, 11-point lead is not secure, but you know, Gober misses the second of the two.
Jones, jumper off the lip, no good. And the Zephyr subs are doing a job here. Look at this fast break action. Chris Carr finishing it off. Moyer looking to penetrate for 2. Gets the bounce off the knee of Romali. And now the Huskies will rest Taylor. Alvarado coming in for his first action of the night. Also a JV player who saw lots of playing time in the earlier game. Kratzer skying one. Can't get the bounce. Jones spins around and gets hacked.
Moyer also now out of the game. Ben Falcon, number 20. Number 10 is Alan Stein. Jones will be at the free throw line. Alvarado, you mentioned. And Kratzer still in there. Now number 32 coming in for Stein is Milton Alderman. And I'm sure Jones will leave maybe after these free throws.
Gober committed the foul, his first. His team's 5th.
Huskies with a lot of work. You know, they're still battling to become one of the 6 teams for the tournament. This was going to be a tough one for them, and it turned out that way. Whitehall just playing maybe one of their best games in recent weeks here tonight, leading 69-55 at this point.
Jones' second attempt, no good. And this one looks to be on Wayne Crocus, number 44 for Dieruff. They're in the bonus, so that'll send Tremaine Tatum to the line. .37 seconds remaining. The score, Whitehall 69, Dieruff 55. So right now, from this vantage point, it looks like the Zephyrs will improve their record to 12 wins, 1 loss overall, 9-1 in East Penn Conference. And depending on what Allen did, stay even to hold on to first place.
Well, Allen now ranked number 3 in Quad A in the state of Pennsylvania. Whitehall still in the top 10. They had occupied that first spot after that big tournament they had, but the loss to Allen knocked them down a few spots.
Chris Carr after a Ben Falk miss at the other end. And the Dieruff Huskies will fall to 4-9 overall. A shot there good by Dieruff's number 32. The East Penn Conference lay for the Huskies 4-6 after tonight. 4 seconds on the clock, 73-57 in favor of Whitehall.
Jason Frederick hustling back defensively, a 5'9" sophomore guard for the Huskies.
Tatum is good with the first. And drops in the second. 4 seconds to go for Dieruff. They'll have to launch it quickly. Up it goes. Falk. No good. The final score, Whitehall 75, Dieruff 57. We'll be back with the final wrap-up with the Bill Bickle stats and an interview with Ron Hassler right after this.
And I'm Gary James.
We would like to invite you and your family out to a very special show.
Proceeds will benefit the Camelot House for Children.
Please come on out and have a great time for a great cause.
Come out and join us for a very special cause. Camelot House for Children. Call 691-0885.
Dan Mowdy courtside with head coach Ron Hassler. And Ron, first quarter was an interesting one. Your team led by 3, but nothing was definite at that point. Did you do anything different going into the second quarter?
Yeah, we were looking for, well, first quarter we were looking for improvement on our offense, which certainly came. However, I think we got out of our mode and got into a bit of a running game, and that seems to be Dieruff's game. So even though we put a lot of points on the board, I think we allowed them defensively to get in position to score also. I think the main change in the second quarter, we just pulled the pressure off, and we just took them we didn't push them. It seemed like when we pushed them into running, and that's not what we want to do with them.
It seemed like when Lasicki was on offense, he was drawing a lot of bodies, but I guess that's not unusual. How did you counter that?
Yeah, he drew a lot of bodies as a result. He just gave up a lot of shots. He did not shoot a lot. I think he had trouble finding his touch in the first half, too, because he wasn't getting the ball that much. But as a result, you know, he was playing the part of the decoy, and it takes a special player at that point to do that also when he has that great scoring ability. But Matt Zoke, fortunately, stepped up and seemed to really take some control. And then I thought some other kids fed off of his confidence.
You know, Whitehall has always done things well, especially move the ball. You said before the game that you've been working a little bit more on that in practice just to make sure the kids continue to do the fundamentals.
Yeah, we just found that, you know, after that tournament we had, teams had not scouted us, and our shots came pretty easy 3 games in a row. And we got back here in the Valley, and here everybody has everyone else's playbook. So it's just not a matter of getting your shot off the first or second pass anymore. And I think even though the tournament was good, it sort of got us into the wrong frame of mind for playing back here in the Valley. And we sort of pride ourselves in making teams play defense for a certain period of time, and then taking advantage when 1 or 2 people sort of slack off. So that's basically what we've been working on lately, trying to get more ball movement, everybody involved, so everybody touches the ball and they feel like they're part of the game.
Now you got a tough week coming up. Not only are the opponents tough in the East Penn Conference, but it's one of those weeks where you have to face 3 of them. Will it go 2-1 like last time, or do you plan on sweeping these 3?
Gee, we'd love to sweep them, but it's hard to tell. There's so many teams right now that are teetering on playoff positions and being eliminated and trying to get to that 500 record that everybody's a dangerous opponent right now. And we're just, you know, you look at them one at a time, and Parkland certainly is, they're right on our backs, if not 1 game away. And they're playing real well, real confidently, and we're going to have to go up there to play them. So we'll have our hands filled on Tuesday.
Parkland, Central, and then Freedom. That's kind of a murderer's row.
Yeah, I think so, but it's basically maybe what the tournament's going to look like. And, Allen faced one of those rows too last week, and I thought it, helped their team improve a lot. It gave you the motivation to get through that week. So, yeah, we're looking forward to it, and we just hope we come out of it successfully. 2-1 we'll be happy with. 3-0 we'll be thrilled with.
All right, Ron Hassler, congratulations.
Thank you.
Good win tonight, and on his way to 3 more next week. Right up to Mike Zambelli now for a review of the stats tonight.
Okay, thanks, Dan, and thank you, Coach Ron Hassler, and congratulations to you and your Whitehall Zephyrs on your victory tonight. A look in the recap at the scoring. The Zeffs were led by Pistol Pete Lisicki, the league's leading scorer, with 23 points. Pete was 11 for 19 from the floor, including 1 3-pointer, did not attempt any free throws for his 23 points. He was followed by senior Matt Zoke. Matt was 7 of 15 from the floor, including 3 3-pointers, no free throws for his total of 17 points. Down the list, senior Chad Cusco, 5 of 8 from the floor, 1 3-pointer, no free throws, 11 points. Keith Giannicola was held scoreless on 2 field goal tries. Mark Leshko was 2 for 5 from the floor for his total of 4 points, those points coming in the second half. Chris Carr came off the bench. He was 2 of 2 from the floor, 0 of 1 from the free throw line for his total of 4 points. Tremaine Tatum, he was 5 for 5 from the free throw line for his total of 5 points, did not attempt any field goals. Bill James did not play. Steve Raisley was 2 for 2 from the floor for his total of 4 points. Steve Gober, 1 of 2 from the free throw line for his total of 1 point. And Pete Romali coming in and sticking 2 3-pointers, 2 field goals, both of them 3-pointers for his total of 6 points. So the line score then for Whitehall, they were 30 of 55 from the floor for 54.5%. 7 3-pointers on the night out of their 30 field goals. They wound up 6 of 8 from the free throw line for their total of 75 points. For the Huskies in a losing effort and did not let us down, the 1 and 2 scorers in the lead. Jason Moyer led the way. He was 7 of 11 from the floor, 6 of 8 from the free throw line. 2 of his 7 field goals were 3-pointers for his total of 22 points. Alan Stein chipped in with 2 field goals, no free throws for his total of 4. Mike Jones, 7 of 12 from the floor, 1 of 3 from the free throw line for his total of 15 points, becoming a real steady performer for the Huskies, right around his average at 15. Pat Taylor, 1 field goal on 2 attempts for his total of 2 points. Chad Kratzer got off to a hot start. He wound up 5 of 8 on the night, 2 of 2 from the free throw line for his total of 12. He had 8 of those in the first half. Jason Watring did not score. Ben Falk did not score. Milt Alterman hit a field goal for his total of 2 points. So the line score then for Dieruff, they were 23 of 43 from the floor for 53.5%. Both teams within a percentage point of one another there. Dieruff had 2 3-pointers. Both of those were by Jason Moyer. They were 9 for 13 from the free throw line for their total of 57 points. That about wraps it up. Our final, Whitehall 75, Dieruff 57. And Dan, the 3-game week next week, I don't know if Dieruff, certainly you come into a game and you expect to win, but a tough going here tonight. They have 3 tough ones again next week, and again, they're balancing right around that 6th spot. You heard Coach Hassler talk about that. That's always scary. Teams really need wins. Allen and Whitehall are looking like maybe the top 2 seeds where they're going to get the byes. Maybe Central sneaks in or Freedom or Parkland. But, that 6th spot is really going to be the battle.
Absolutely. So both teams having their work cut out for them. It's never easy to win 3 in a row, especially when they're all in 1 week. But we'll have more basketball action coming your way next week right here on the Super 2. Hope you can join us for that. Again, if you watch this game on a Friday night, tell your friends. We'll be rebroadcasting it Saturday night at 7 o'clock before the big Northampton Nazareth wrestling meet, which comes your way Saturday night at 9. For Mike Zambelli and our stat man, Bill Bickle, this is Dan Mowdy saying thanks for joining us here on Super 2 Sports. Good night.